What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, what the world is listening to. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity Ant C, and today we are jumping in our time machine to continue talking about the Attitude Years, Season 2 from 1999. Today we are covering WWE Raw is War from March 1st, 1999, live in Cleveland, Ohio. And to start the night, the corporation come out. Vince says last week TV history was made. It was so rare, a moment where I showed weakness. Undertaker, my feelings were crushed. Was it because of a burning teddy bear or what the bear represents to me? No one knows the capacity I have to love, feel, or cherish. I wouldn't expect you to know. A man of my distinction should never be publicly humiliated. Undertaker, you had a surprise for me. I have one for you. Kane, you swore to me Undertaker will burn in hell. You lied, and now you can go to hell. You're fired. The orderlies come out to grab Kane, but Kane and Chyna beat them up. Chyna says, you're making a mistake. You don't know how to control Kane, but I can. Let me be responsible for Kane. Give him Stone Cold Steve Austin tonight. If he wins, he stays in. If he doesn't, he goes. Vince says, fine, but you'll be fired with him if he loses. Mankind comes out. Mankind says, last week I was screwed worse than a housewife intern. I would like to referee Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kane tonight. Vince says, if you want to referee a WrestleMania, you got to beat The Undertaker tonight. The lights go out, and we hear The Undertaker saying, Mr. McMahon, I told you what I want, and I'm stunning. Yeah. Development here start off Raw. We see Ryan Shamrock walking backstage. Earl Hebner told Stone Cold Steve Austin that he's going to fight Kane tonight. Now we have the Intercontinental Championship on the line. The champion Val Venus taking on Ken Shamrock and Goldust with the blue meanie. We see footage backstage where the doctor tells Billy Gunn he has pneumonia and he can't wrestle tonight, so he's out of this match. So pretty much this match ends up turning into a brawl as Ken Shamrock attacks Goldust in the blue meanie, and then Ken Shamrock fights Goldust in the crowd after Ryan Shamrock comes out, and Goldust makes out with Ryan. That obviously upsets Ken Shamrock. During this, Billy Gunn attacks Val Venus and sends him into the ring steps. We get this Mankind Chef Boyardee commercial. Jim Ross comes out and introduces Bart Gunn. JR says, everyone has trouble looking at me. They told me no one wants to look at me because of my issue that I have. Remember, Jim Ross had, yeah, it's not a stroke, but he can't move his, I guess it's a mini stroke in the side of his chin. I don't know, whatever. He couldn't move his face. Uh, Bart says, I'm sorry, but what does that have to do with me? JR says, after you knocked out my boy, Steve Williams, you laughed at me. JR then slaps Bart, and then Steve Williams comes out and attacks Bart Gunn from behind. We then get the M&M Crispy Slam of the week. D'Lo Brown and Ivory cause Jeff Jarrett and Debra a match on Heat last night. We come back and the tag team champions Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett come out with Debra in a robe. Jeff Jarrett says, earlier today we issued an open challenge. Debra says, if you boys think you can take the titles from my men, I'll give you my robe. So X-Pac and Triple H are taking on the tag champions Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett with Debra. If Triple H and X-Pac get the win, Debra will give them her robe. Blah, 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 blah. So Debra distracts the referee. Shane tosses X-Pac into the steps. X-Pac chases Shane McMahon off. Ivory walk out, and then Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart attack Triple H, leading to a DQ. D'Lo Brown attacks Owen Hart, Jeff Jarrett, and then Ivory strips Debra um, of her robe. So difference of happening here. We see X-Pac getting distracted by Shane McMahon again, leaving Triple H alone. Ivory stripping Debra. So all these scenarios are coming into one match here, and it's going to play out later on in the night. Luna Vachon and Tori come out next. Luna says, you attacked me and you're number one fan from behind, Sable. She asked to stand by me and not you. I'm standing up for everyone that you used before. I'm going to bring you down to earth. That's when the women's champion Sable comes out, and Tori attacks Luna from behind. Sable kicks out Luna, and then Sable hits Luna with a Sable bomb. So even though Luna was trying to protect this fan from Sable manipulated the fan to attack Luna instead. We now have the WWE title on the line. The champion, The Rock, defeating the Road Dogg after a corporate elbow and after Paul White comes out to ringside for this match. Al Snow comes out and says it's the Road Dogg's fault he lost to Bob Holly. Road Dogg hits Al Snow with 3 chair shots. Al laughs. And then Bob Holly runs out with a chair. Road Dogg says, if you pussies want more, I'll be in the parking lot. So I think we're going to get a parking lot brawl in the backstage later. Public Enemy come out dressed as the Brood. Rocco Rock says that me and Johnny know how to play the game. Are we afraid of blood? No. They say they're not afraid of the Brood, and then the lights go out. When they come back on, Rocco Rock is gone. We see Bob Holly attacking Road Dogg backstage. He sends Road Dogg into the trash, and then Road Dogg sends Bob Holly into crates. So those two are fighting backstage. We get a kendo stick match between Droz and Steve Blackman. Droz gets the win after nailing Steve Blackman with the kendo stick, and Steve Blackman falls to the ground. We continue to see Al Snow, Bob Holly, and Road Dogg fight. They continue to fight in the street, though, at this point. We see a promo from Rodney and Pete Gas about Greenwich, and they say that Shane McMahon is the toughest guy in Greenwich. We then see Rocco Rock. He's been found. He's backstage, and he's hanging, and there's blood all over him. Obviously, this is the work of the Ministry and the Brood. Vince McMahon comes out to join the commentating team. We have The Undertaker taking on Mankind now. Vince announces that WrestleMania 15, Undertaker will take on Big Boss Man in a Hell in a Cell match. Undertaker punches Vince McMahon, and then he goes to chokeslam Vince, but Big Boss Man attacks Undertaker with a nightstick. However, Undertaker is able to chokeslam Mankind even through this. We then have Debra taking on Ivory. Ivory and Debra fight until Jacqueline and Terry attack Ivory, and then Jacqueline hits Ivory with a pile driver. Interesting stuff. The women are just arguing and fighting with each other. There's really no storyline for these guys right now, but they're just sort of wanting that women's title. We come to our main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kane with Chyna. If Kane loses, both he and Chyna will be fired. During the match, Paul White comes out, and then Paul puts a chair in the ring. Stone Cold hits Kane with a chair twice. Chyna low blows Stone Cold Steve Austin. Paul accidentally hits Kane with a big boot. Stone Cold flips off Paul White and then leaves. So no one's fired because the match ended in a no contest, but we're on the road to WrestleMania. New storylines are developing. The biggest takeaway from this night is that Vince is trying to do whatever he can to destroy Austin before WrestleMania, as well as The Undertaker having this idea of doing something different. So with that, we would like to say stay safe and stay uncensored.